It's inconceivable.
Get that stuff out of here. It's Southwest Bias.
Welcome into another edition of Southwest Bias, brought to you by our friends at Branded Bills. Get your headwear and apparel from Branded Bills. Use the promo code BBPHNX to save 20% off your first order. And yeah, it's inconceivable that for the last 15 years, it's been almost embarrassing to be a Suns fan in Arizona and outside of Arizona. With the exception of the 2021 NBA Finals run, it's been tough around here. It's been difficult to root for the purple and orange. Whether it was on the court in a 10-year drought, whether it was the disgraced former owner, whether it was bad draft picks like Dragan Bender, Josh Jones, Marquise Chris, Josh Jackson, if you will. Maybe they drafted Josh Jones too, and I'm not aware of it. It's just been rough. It's been embarrassing over and over and over again. And I thought a couple of years ago we might be getting away from it. Matt Ishbia comes in, is willing to spend, finally, an owner that'll spend money on the roster. Not like we've seen before. No longer do we have a cheap owner that squeaks when he walks. He'll pay money, $400 million, the most expensive roster in history. The most star power we've seen in years in Phoenix. Head coaches who had championship experience for the first time in franchise history. All sorts of things that we thought were going right for the Suns. And sure, it careened off a cliff. It didn't work. Those things will happen. On the court issues, chemistry that doesn't come together, basketball philosophy issues, and personalities not getting along. Those are things that happen from time to time. And this first iteration, this first mix of Matt Ishbia's Suns and the roster didn't work. You could get a little bit more animated when it comes to having a fourth coach in as many seasons, and you wouldn't be wrong. The front office, we've talked about it, and you have every right to feel a certain way. But what bothers me is the perception that continues to happen with this organization. And part of that perception problem is the fact that since March 27th, the Suns have had more lawsuits filed against them than wins on the court. 2-1. That as other teams are talking about proceeding to the finals, the Suns, for the third offseason in a row, are talking about proceeding to the final phase of their interviewing for coaches. These things make the organization look bad. And let's talk about the lawsuits. These are all allegations. Nothing has been proven. There's not anything in those documents that we know to be 100% true, or even 1% true for that matter. We don't know anything about these allegations. And in fact, the Suns have vehemently denied all allegations that have happened. Here's one of the quotes from the Suns that said, quote, "The Supreme Court of Arizona has twice disciplined attorney Cherie Wright for committing numerous violations of the rules of professional conduct, and she is currently serving a 2-year probation with the State Bar of Arizona," a Suns spokesperson told ESPN. This time, Ms. Wright and her client have made absurd accusations of misconduct surrounding the security department of the Phoenix Suns. These allegations are delusional and categorically false, end quote. So the Suns are saying nothing that have come of the 2 lawsuits since March 27th and the 4 overall are truthful. All 4 have come from the same lawyer, Cherie Wright, who, as they factually stated, is under investigation by the State Bar, or at least under probation. These things are true that they said in terms of the attorney. Now, whether or not the rest of it is true, we'll find out. There are some damning allegations, especially in this most recent lawsuit. I read every single page of it. And while there's one line that is kind of circulated around the internet because it's a TMZ-style headline, It actually had very little to do with the claim that was going on. There are real concerns potentially if they hold any weight within this lawsuit. But the one thing that people have fixated on was literally hearsay from another employee that wasn't really even included in the claims that were going on. In fact, what happened there, I talked to a lawyer, they said even including the line that's been floating around is completely unprofessional from a lawyer standpoint. And I think it's completely unprofessional for these pseudo media outlets to be running with that portion of it as well. Because again, all of these allegations could be 100% false. And now you've taken two individuals and slandered them because of a statement in a lawsuit that we don't even know is true. I question the thinking of the people that have put that out there and run with it. I'm not going to talk about the specifics. If you want to go search the internet, fine. That's your prerogative. My whole point is we don't know what's true. And the allegations of issues with security measures at the arena are concerning if true. Like I said, the Suns completely deny it. I reached out to the Phoenix Police Department because there were, in the ESPN article and in the lawsuit that was filed, there were discussions about attempts by the Phoenix Police Department to breach Sun security into games and get banned items into the games. The claim is that they succeeded in that and that those were ignored. But when I talked to the Phoenix Police Department, they said, quote, after talking with our Homeland Defense Bureau, these tests are conducted at a venue after the venue's security or management requests the test. This test is conducted by plainclothes officers per ARS 41-1803. Information about these tests are exempt from public disclosure, and therefore we do not retain a public record of this data. Ultimately, the results of this test are given to the facility itself, and it is up to them if it is released from there. The Suns claim none of these, that they never failed a test. And there are no records that you can get publicly. But according to the police department and the statement that the Phoenix PD's public information officer gave me, these tests are actually run when the venue and the management there request it, and the report goes directly to them. So do with that what you will. But there are concerning things. There's an FMLA claim that they talk about in the ESPN article, that's Family Medical Leave Act, if you're unaware of it, that, if true, is concerning. There's also allegations of racism in some of these lawsuits. And that's obviously a problem that is huge if true. But the fact is, we don't know if any of it is true or what of it is true yet. These are simply allegations in a lawsuit that we aren't sure about. But what worries me is that perception becomes reality. These are out there. These have been reported on. The Phoenix New Times, ESPN, now multiple outlets, including us, have reported about the allegations in the lawsuits. And if even 5% of this is true in any of these suits, we're way too adjacent to where we've been before. Suns fans deserve better than that. The team, the people running it, are stewards of the fans and the city. Matt Ishbia has said as much. These things are embarrassing. And I understand this could be a complete money grab for somebody. I don't know. None of us know what the reality is. But the perception is that now the basketball side has been a mess. And allegedly, the business side is a mess. It's tough to be back where we are. We've talked about it. I talked about it on the Suns program during the investigation into the disgraced former owner. There are difficult things that go on sometimes. And sometimes they need to come to light for change to happen. And other times, they might be false. The only reason I talked so adamantly in the previous investigation was because I had experienced and seen some of those things firsthand. I saw them with my own eyes. So when you see them with your own eyes, it's a lot easier to make statements and come out hard against things. Right now, I don't know. But if any of this is true, unfortunately, we're finding ourselves in a similar position to where we've been before. This state and its fans deserve better. All we should be thinking about is basketball and how to make the team better, or watching a team that's striving to win. If I told fans 25 years ago what the last 15 years would have held for Suns fans, they wouldn't have believed you. This was a franchise with the fourth best winning percentage in NBA history at the time. It was one that was held up as a bastion of good management and good basketball and a solid history for the most part. And over the last 15 years, that has been tarnished in so many ways. Now, I hope what the Suns said in their statement is 100% correct, that none of it's true, that these are merely allegations and nothing more. But the fact that they're out there just is unfortunate. If they're true, I'm glad. If they're not, it's more that's just thrown at this fan base. And the fact that the internet is running wild with a lot of it makes it tough to be a fan. All any of us want is for this team to find a way to win a championship. We root for a team because the drama in our own lives is enough, and we would like something to take our minds off of it. And that's what we want. A team we can be proud of. A team that we can see win. A franchise that when we say, I'm a Phoenix Suns fan, that means something. We've been through the 500 miles of crap. We thought we came out on the other side and that the rain was going to wash us clean. I still hope that we're going to get to that point. I still hope that we're on the verge of that. But right now, it's still embarrassing to be a Phoenix Suns fan. But maybe that's just my Southwest bias. On the other side, I catch up with Locked On Suns host Ben Garcia. We talk about the coaching search, which is in its second phase. We talk about the 8 names that are on the list and a whole lot more. Stay tuned. I want to welcome our new friends from Mountain America Credit Union into the Southwest Bias family, because everybody needs a checking account. And with Mountain America's My Style checking account, you're going to get some of the best perks in the business. I want to read these point blank because they're so good. I don't want to miss anyone. Restaurant deals, mobile phone protection. Have you ever dropped your phone? I have, and I've shattered the screen, and I didn't have any protection, but Mountain America wants to get you that protection. Telehealth access, because we know that health insurance and healthcare is so important. Identity protection, so nobody can pretend to be you and access your funds. Loan rate discounts, which right now in this world, if you're trying to buy a car or a home, you need some loan rate discounts. You're going to get offers on travels and events and oh so much more with the My Style. Your lifestyle at a Mountain America Credit Union is going to be spectacular. So visit macu.com/mystyle to apply. Remember, membership required based on eligibility. Some benefits require no cost registration and activation. Terms and conditions apply, and they are issued by NCUA. You know them, you love them. It's Circle K. And if you aren't part of the inner circle already, what in the world are you waiting for? How many times can I tell you about the inner circle before you download that Circle K app, put in your phone number, and enjoy a world of savings? You're going to get 25 cents off your first 5 fill-ups. Then you're going to get 3 cents off, and then you're going to hit that ESPO level, and you get 5 cents off. And then they're going to randomly text you about fuel days where you can save upwards of 40 cents off per gallon. Really, they're just giving you great perks for nothing. You're just sitting there. Sign up now so you can save. You're also going to get great deals on some of their food, their drinks, everything and anything that you love about Circle K. You're going to have an opportunity to save a little on it by becoming an Inner Circle member. So join for free by downloading that app and do it today, because terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for details and tell them Espo sent you. Welcome back into Southwest Bias, and I'm excited to have my favorite Suns foil on the program. He's Ben Garcia of Locked On Suns and the Ben Garcia Show. Ben, how are you today?
I'm good. Did you say Suns foil? What does that mean?
A guy I love to argue with about your takes and everything.
Hey, listen, I don't want to start off on a bad note, but with the Western Conference Finals coming, and I took a lot of flack for saying Booker was no longer the best shooting guard. It doesn't mean I don't love him, and you got upset with me. Can we just agree? Like, we're not happy about it, but I might have been right there.
Right now, he is not the best shooting guard in the NBA. But
he can be. We
know how fast that pendulum can swing back in the other direction. So I'm not going to – I'll say you're right for right now. I'm not going to say you're right forever. And I think that –
What?
Yeah. For the moment you're right, but you're not right forever. And just remember that. All right?
Man, that's true. That's true.
Look, man, you know this fan base. You know this market. Are we cursed? Like, why do we have to take and deal with so much crap across the board? Basketball, off the court, all these things. What in the world did we do to deserve this? That's where I want to start, because that's where I'm at mentally. I am drained as a Phoenix Suns supporter.
One of the reasons why I've really leaned into my Arizona fandom is because I feel like I'm not one of many people who can say they're all Arizona everything. Like, I'm not rooting for Sun Devils, Diamondbacks, Suns, Cardinals. I'm all into it. And I told myself when I was a kid, because I used to get made fun of because I'd wear a different Suns jersey every day. Grant Hill, Lou Amundsen, Steve Nash, Raj Bell, like a different one every single day. And I'd get like kind of teased. And I told myself, by the time, and I remember saying this when I was a kid, by the time I get out of 8th grade, we will have won a championship and I'll have the last laugh. It didn't happen. And then in high school, I thought the same thing. And then in college, I thought the same thing. And here I am. My 3-year wedding anniversary is in a couple of days. I don't know if it's ever going to happen.
What are you, 24 now? Like, come on, man.
I'm 27. I'm 27. I'm old, man.
I'm 41. I've seen it longer, and I know people that are well into their 60s who have thought the same thing for 6+ or for 5+ decades now. I want this organization to get out of its own way. I want this fan base to be able to enjoy something, because right now it is miserable. And I'm not just talking on the Twitter streets. The mean Twitter streets always have a tinge of that. But even outside of it, I feel like it's permeating into this fan base. And I am frustrated, and I am over it at this point. I want something good this offseason to happen to this fan base.
I just can't believe, like, talking about good, bad, and different, when people were like, oh, the Mavs deserved this. No, they didn't. No, they didn't. You did not deserve Cooper Flagg. You got him, and congratulations, but you had half a season of the season from hell. And I know Locked On Mavs guy, Nick Angstead, good dude. I texted him, congrats, I guess, but you don't deserve this. And, and so it is what it is. Of course it doesn't happen to us. Of course we don't get a get out of jail free card. Of course the Spurs and the 76ers and the Mavs do.
I texted Mark Stein, the DLS crew, and I was like, I'm happy for you guys. I hate you as a basketball team for this, because, you went through hell for all of 6 months. You have a shiny trophy. You were just in the finals. Sure, you traded Luka. Boo freaking who? You got Anthony Davis back, and now you have the #1 pick. I do not feel for you. You would not last a day, an hour in the asylum they raised me in. My franchise has more lawsuits, too, than wins won since March 27th. All right? Like, I don't want to hear this. You are not. You have not gone through anything to deserve Cooper Flagg and the number 1 pick. Like, but Nico Harrison doesn't really know how to do his job. You know how many general managers, coaches, owners we've been able to say that about in Phoenix? I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it at all.
Also, Nico Harrison, like, at least I can buy he's absolutely qualified for the job, and we can argue the Gregory hire, whatever, is he qualified? But like. To just say right away, oh, he's absolutely sure. We don't even know if they interviewed anyone else. So,
hold on. Nico Harrison was a Nike executive. I don't know that made him qualified to be. Let's not try to make Nico Harrison sound like he is a 7-time NBA champion as a general manager or anything. And the guy made a stupid freaking move. I'm just saying, have you seen how many stupid freaking moves we've had to go through in Phoenix? I'm not accepting your sob story in Dallas. All right. Well, you were winning titles. I was watching my team not make the playoffs for a decade. All right. So Dallas, I don't want to hear a damn word. Let's get back to the Suns, though. In terms of this coaching staff, Mark Stein and Jake Fisher came out with a list yesterday. Sean Sweeney of the Mavericks, Johnny Bryant of the Cavs, Jordan Ott of the Cavs, Steve Hetzel of Brooklyn, Micah Norrie from Minnesota, Chris Quinn from Miami, James Borrego from New Orleans, and David Fizdale from Phoenix. Any of those getting you excited over this Suns coaching search?
Realistically, I don't know if Chris Quinn, who has been a longtime assistant with the Heat, if I'm not mistaken, of course, I don't think he's a guy who would want to find the right opportunity and jump ship to Phoenix. Phoenix, although a great basketball market and will always be potentially a sleeping giant here, I would really like Chris Quinn here, bring a sense of culture here, like Monty Williams did under Eric Spoelstra. And the guy I really like a lot is Johnny Bryant. And that's because 2 years ago on Fox Sports 910 in Phoenix, when that was still a thing, when I was filling in for Jody Ayler, I was screaming to the masses, bring Kenny Atkinson here. Like, why not bring him here instead of Frank Vogel? Why are we settling for Rivers, Vogel, and some other third guy who I don't even remember who was in the candidacy for the top 3? It's a guy who went to Golden State, won a couple of titles there, Brooklyn, connection with Kevin Durant if you want to keep him still, and then over to now with the Cleveland Cavaliers, the first overall seed. And yeah, they failed in the playoffs, but no Darius Garland, no DeAndre Hunter for some of that. Like, I do think fully healthy, they probably beat that team, but it doesn't happen. And the playoffs is about getting a little lucky. Suns got a little lucky in 2021, and I'm not faulting them for it. Everyone does. And so I really like Johnny Bryant. He's the lead assistant for the Cavs, an offensive-driven guy under Kenny Atkinson. Kenny Atkinson was a guy that I rooted for the Suns 2 years ago. That is a guy that really makes me get excited and make me establish more belief in the Suns front office. Another guy, Micah Norrie, just because he was the head coach with the head coach also on his shoulder the entire time during a lot of the playoffs last year. I like what he did with the Timberwolves. So those three guys.
Can we be honest? Some of this might just all be red herrings outside of Jordan Ott and Steve Hetzel, because Jordan Ott, who is on that Cavs staff, and you seem to like that for at least Johnny Bryant. Ott, guess where he got his master's degree in athletic administration?
I know, because I pointed this out to Brendan Clean yesterday.
Michigan State University. You know where Steve Hetzel got a major in kinesiology and was a student manager for a certain head coach that may know our owner?
I'm guessing it wasn't the Michigan Wolverines.
No, he went to Michigan State as well. And look, I don't know that that's going to be the end all be all, but we do have two candidates with direct ties to Michigan State, Tom Izzo, and by proxy, Matt Ishbia, which I found interesting in the list. And, that'll hold some weight. The other name that kind of stuck out to me was David Fizdale. Now, I'm of the belief that this is simply they want to ask him to remain as an assistant coach, and that's why his name appears here. But that would be the third coaching staff David Fizdale's been on. Like, it is, I don't know if he has info on somebody or he is just that amazing of a guy that you keep him around for a third coaching staff, but good on him.
I think because of from what I've heard, his ability to build relationships with the players, I think that is important. However, I don't want him there unless the new head coach wants him there. This needs to be a coach-led coaching staff, not Ishbia and Gregory and whoever it is wants to throw that guy as the on the bench. This needs to be built by the head coach. I don't really care that Otten and Hedsel went to Michigan State or have ties to Michigan State in any way, because I don't question either of their, like, yes, Hedsel, I guess a little bit, Nets, if I'm not mistaken, it was the Bucks, but before they really got good, and a couple of other teams, no really prestigious franchises, but he has paid his dues, and Jordan Ott as well, under Kenny Atkinson, has paid his dues, one of the assistants on that Cavs team. I don't mind picking from Kenny Atkinson's bunch, so I don't really care. Like, you had pointed this out as well. The Gregory thing was an issue with me because I felt like he wasn't super qualified for the job, whether agree or disagree. But I do agree with what you said on social media, which was, I hire people I know all the time. Yeah. I just wish that followed it up, and I know you do this, followed it up with, I hire people all the time that I know who are qualified. And these guys who I know are qualified, yeah, Ishbia has a relationship with them. I don't really care where they went to college. And I don't question either of these two guys' ability to coach a team. So Ott is not a bad hire at all. I would not be upset. Hedsel, I'd scratch my head, but I'd hear it out.
I honestly don't have a problem either. I just think it's funny that that's the storyline that's permeated, is that that's the only thing that seems to matter to people. And, I put it out there just simply observing that they both did, and people were losing their ever-loving mind as if they were suggesting that we hire Flavor Flav as the new head coach because he once watched a Michigan State basketball game that Tom Izzo coached. Like, I don't understand the visceral hate, but you know what? I think back to our original topic, I think when there's so much chaos surrounding your franchise and there hasn't been proof that you're on the right path, everything's going to be questioned for a million reasons, and little connections are going to be drawn no matter what the case may be.
Yeah, I would agree with you. Right now, it feels like whatever the Suns do is going to be the wrong decision. But what I will say about this list is, on its face, it's a very mature list. There's not a single guy on here who I'm like, what's James Borrego doing on here? Like, he was one of the finalists for the Lakers job last year. Or Dave Bliss, the Thunder. Like, there's no one on here that I would immediately just be like, yeah, I'm out on. Sean Sweeney, if I'm not mistaken, was on that staff as well, per my research, that stranglehold of the Suns in 2022. Took Devin Booker out of the series and made Chris Paul a shooter who refused to shoot. So what I like about this is it shows that the Suns maybe learned from their GM hire, or maybe had that plan all along and decided, let's cast a really wide net. Let's take the most qualified people. And out of these top 8, you can't play the, oh, he's not qualified card. Everyone here has got scars and has got battle wounds that we clearly see, and that they should be able to get this job. The only one that I would be upset about is Fizdale, but I'm just not taking him super seriously as a candidate, because I think the same thing you did. I think they're just going to ask him to come be on the bench with again, which is insane for a third time.
I also like that they didn't pander to the fan base and say, hey, Gerald Dudley's one of the finalists in this group as well, just because you like him. Like, I thought that would be it, and that would be the name that was, oh, something for the fans to buy into a little bit. And I'm glad they didn't go that route, because we've seen that happen in this town far too many times. Danny Ainge, former player, was a head coach. A former Suns player, Frank Johnson, we saw it with Jeff Hornacek. Like, I don't care if you played here. If you're, all I care about is how good of a coach you are, and can you actually turn what's going to be a completely different roster in all likelihood into a winner next year. That's all that should matter, and we'll see. I think I agree with you in terms of the names that we've seen listed as kind of in this second round of coaching interviews, that I think they've done an exhaustive search, and they're talking to guys that all seem to have a pedigree that at least in most cases makes sense. Look, we've agreed far too much today. So what is your hottest take that you got going on right now that I can tell you you're completely wrong on? Like, I feel like we need to have that at least once when you and I talk.
I'm getting closer. This isn't a take that I'm ready to craft yet.
Ooh, so we've got a half-baked take. All right.
It's definitely half-baked. The more and more I read the tea leaves of the Kevin Durant trade market and the ability to build a winner around Devin Booker, I'm closer. I'm not there yet, but I am closer to trading for Devin Booker than I have ever been before in my life. And I don't want that to happen.
You're closer to wanting to trade Devin Booker than ever before.
It might be the only. I don't want to trade Devin Booker. I love Devin Booker.
Are you saying that instead of Kevin Durant?
No, both.
Yeah.
I think you might.
I think you should keep this one as half baked. That's what I'm going to tell you.
Let me give you. No, listen. I'm okay. I'm okay with stones getting thrown at me. My own co-host and your guy, Eric Ruby, were tag teaming at Hardy Boy style handicap match against me the other day. So and then you came in out of nowhere with the steel chair. So let's just. I can take that.
That's my job with you, though. I feel like as the youngin in this group, the elder statesman has to come in sometimes and just say, "Calm down, youngin. Calm down."
Let me just, because I got to explain to people that theory really quickly.
I will shut up. You can explain.
I don't want this to happen. I like Devin Booker here. Don't threaten my family. What I will say is Devin Booker ever going to be a 1? No, I think he's a 2. I think he's the best 2 in the league. Are you going to be able, before Devin Booker is out of his prime, to absolutely nail, potentially, let's say they get the 14th pick from the Spurs. You're going to have to nail that pick, and is Sohan and Keldon Johnson and forgot the other guy's name, who would be in that trade, Harrison Barnes. Are those guys going to do enough? Yes, they'll make you competitive, but are you ever going to be able to get the 1 to surround Devin Booker before he's out of his prime? And I want to win a championship, and I think it's very possible to make this team a playoff contender, but I just don't know, with the limited amount of resources, if you are ever going to be able to get a team good enough to win a championship with Devin Booker. I don't want to trade him. I don't think they'll trade him this year. But man, the more I think about it, if you can't get a good deal for Kevin Durant, like a Rockets one or whoever it is, I really struggle with the ability to be able to build that team. I don't know if I would say that's the oven's preheating right now. I wouldn't say we've stuck it in yet.
He is Ben Garcia, the internet's #1 Devin Booker hater. He wants him out of town. He's called the Uber to drive him to Sky Harbor. Make sure to listen to him on Locked On Suns and on the Ben Garcia Show. Ben, thanks so much for your time.
Thanks, man. I'm going to go lock my doors.
You probably should. All Pro Shade Concepts. That's what you need to know about this summer. It's getting hot out there. Your backyard's getting hot. Your house is getting hot. You know what's going to help you? Our friends at All Pro Shade Concepts and one of their unbelievable shades for you. I have a giant sliding glass door in the side of my house. I've talked about it before. Basically a giant magnifying glass that made my kitchen miserable for the first decade I owned the home. Couldn't find a solution that worked until I met our friends at All Pro Shade Concepts. They came out, they showed me all the materials that they were going to build my shade with. They showed me exactly what the process was going to look like. It made my wife and I so comfortable. We said right then and there, yes, let's do it. We didn't even have to look at the estimate. We were so sold by just their progress, their process, and what they offered that we were all in. Then they came out and installed it, and it was the easiest, most simple experience I've ever had with something done on my house. You're going to want to get in on this and get your free estimate by calling 623-204-1476 or visiting allproshadeconcepts.com now and get that estimate, because Espo wouldn't lead you wrong, right? Branded Bills hats. I am a hat addict, and now all my hats are becoming Branded Bills hats because there's not a better made, more comfortable, or better looking hat out there than what our friends at Branded Bills do. If you're looking for some custom stuff for your business, they got you covered. We've made these great PHNX hats that I love wearing, that people around town love wearing, because again, they look great, they feel great, and you look good in them. So why wouldn't you want to take advantage of that? And guess what? I've got a special offer just for you. If you head to brandedbills.com and use that promo code BBPHNX at checkout, you're going to save 20% off your first order. What I suggest is you fill that cart to the brim, right? I don't even know if there's limits on what you could put in an online cart, but get there, put in the code, save 20% off, keep some of these hats for you and give them away as gifts, because nobody likes them more than I do. And everybody else is going to like them when you give them out as a gift. So head to brandedbills.com, use that promo code BBPHNX and save that 20% off today. All right, we're going to wrap up today's episode with something that I had to hear, so you have to hear it now. Charles Barkley was a guest on Spittin' Chicklets, and he talked about his underwear.
You got any draws on right now, Chuck?
You know, I burned all my drawers like 30 years ago. I never wear underwear.
You don't wear underwear, Chuck?
No.
I never wear, well, first of all, I'm black. We call them drawers. Okay? We don't call them underwear. We call them drawers. So I burned about probably 35 years ago. I had a bonfire in the backyard, and I burned all my drawers. So I never wear underwear. So I'm going to go back to bed for probably an hour
For
or two.
Noble.
Then I'm going to get up. I think I might go get a massage. I might go get a massage.
Okay.
And after that, I might go hit some golf balls. Like, it's a long day. But then I'm just going to watch Game 6 and Game 6. That's all I'm going to do today.
Yeah, I did not need to know that the round mound of rebound lets his round mounds just dangle free and blow in the wind, all right? I never needed to know that Charles Barkley decided to go commando. I don't need to know that. And why? Why did he have a bonfire to burn his underwear? So many questions. 35 years ago, like he says, he just decides it's time to burn all his underwear. Just bizarre. And why? Just throw it out. Why do you got to burn it? I don't understand. It's very bizarre, and I really don't understand why Sir Charles decided to share this with everybody. But the fact that I had to hear it meant you did too. That's another edition of Southwest Bias. Thanks to our friends at Branded Bills for sponsoring today's show. Big thanks to Kevin Thomas, who set us up behind the Mac today. Follow me at Espo. Follow the show at PHNX_sports, wherever you get it. And until next time, ahoy, ahoy.